remind yourself of the facts. They're just confused. And then once you're feeling neutral, you're able to get curious and solve it. So once you get neutral and you realize the fact that she still doesn't get it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with her. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It just means that she's having a thought that doesn't match your thought. Welcome to Sincerely Future You, a podcast for female entrepreneurs looking to scale their business by mastering their time, money, and drama. I'm your host, Jess McKinley, founder of What's Happyning Coaching, a life coaching program that helps ambitious women like you make decisions today with the future you in mind. Hi, Hapsters. Welcome back. It's weird because I'm now in this zone where I am so ahead of podcasts that I had to think about what day it's going to be when you're listening to this before I hit record. And I realized that the day that you're listening to this episode, there are only 3 days left until the door closes for Happyning Sessions. This is crazy because by the time you're listening to this, potentially it could be sold out. I'm only having 15 spots. And right now, some of those spots are already have been claimed. So now at this point, if you are listening to this episode, this is your last chance to get in the door. I want to be really clear because I've never had this business model before, but I am not going to be opening group coaching, which is what Happyning Sessions is. Happyning Sessions is the place where I am coaching 15 female entrepreneurs on their time, their money, and their mind drama. We're going to have very specific metrics that are going to be tracked. We're going to be having very specific tools that you're going to be learning and applying. And then we're just going to coach the crap out of your brain over those 6 months for whatever is brought up for you as you navigate the tools and as you stretch yourself to really look at the math of your business and separate it from the mind drama. And I'm so sold on how deeply I've honed these skills and simplified this process for you guys that I decided to have a money back guarantee on this program. I am so certain that these 15 women are going to get results that if you don't, I will give you your money back. So if you were just on the fence, I just took you off of the fence. If you are ready for some sort of money mastery, time mastery, or mind drama mastery, this is absolutely your time to do it. So it will be closed on March 15th. We will be starting March 16th, and it'll be 6 months of coaching intimately and fiercely. And then I won't be opening Happyning Sessions again until mid-October. So this really is the last chance, and I'm no longer doing one-on-one coaching. So just to give you an example, and if you've been listening to this podcast, you know what I'm talking about. But for those of you who are newer, what does time mastery even mean? So to me, when I say time mastery, what I mean is you're able to show up to time in a very abundant way, regardless of how much is quote unquote on your plate. You're able to receive the interruptions of life, whether that means that you're a mom and your kid gets exposed to COVID and whoops, your kid is home now all of a sudden. How are you pivoting? How are you reorganizing your day, your week, your schedule, and without compromising the results of your life, not just your life, not just your business, but your life as a whole. And so that's why I think it's so important that I did decide to just work with women for this specific thing, because I think we have different challenges that come up. And I do want this to be a space where you can bring up, your competing self-concepts of maybe whether it's you being a mom or whether it's just you being a woman in an industry that might be male dominated or whatever it may be for you. those thoughts can sometimes really impede our ability to gain quick traction and grow our revenue quickly. And it's just unnecessary. It's completely optional. So if we can simplify the tools down to time mastery, so that looks like you learning Hapster scheduling very specifically and applying it so that you always have a plan for your day. And then you can couple that with being an advanced decision maker, gold. And then let's talk about money mastery. So some people just think, oh, you're going to help me earn more money. Short answer to that is yes. But the long answer is that there are 6 areas of money mastery. I've done a podcast episode on this that I will link in the show notes, which is on the 6 areas of money mastery. I'm not sure now. I'm thinking it might actually have been a part 1, part 2 episode, but these include earning, saving, spending, investing, having, and giving money. So we approach money from a holistic way. I have lots of clients that come to me earning multiple 6 figures and yet still somehow at the end of the day feel like there's not enough to pay themselves or not enough to make the investments that they want to be making in themselves. Or on the contrary, there are other people who feel really, really great about their budget and they're not earning what they want to be making yet, but they have a really good handle on their spending and they maybe are far ahead of some of my other higher earners in terms of saving or investment category. I'm going to be thinking about money as this game really that has 6 components, and are you able to be well versed in all of them? And when you are, the amount of calm that washes over you and your business, it just will inform your decisions and it'll make everything seem like less of a rush and less of a problem if the how ends up changing in some way. So the Happyning Sessions is 6 months and it will begin in just 4 days from now when you're listening, I think 4 or 5 days. It's going to be amazing. You do not want to miss out. So you can sign up. I'm going to put the link in the show notes, as well as you can go to my Instagram and you can go to the link in my bio. My Instagram is What's Happyning Jess, WHATS HAPPYNINGW, Jess. And the start date is March 16th. The doors will close on March 15th. All right. That is my pitch. I'm done with that. But I just really do need to say that, listen, like I think of selling as coaching and coaching as selling. The reason it's so easy for me to sell this to you guys is because I just think it's the best way for you guys to manage your own brain is through this program. I developed it so that I could help you with the things that I talk about all the time on this program. So get in there. If it's not already closed, I really am going to feel bad if this episode is airing and you're like knocking on the door. Don't worry. Either way, you can get on the wait list. There's a wait list as well. And then we'll let you know about October so that way you don't miss out on that one. All right, guys. So we're going to be talking today about this genius thought that I thought that everybody thought. And then I just kept looking around and seeing people enraged about other people's thoughts. And I was like, wait, guys, they're just confused. And as the more I started saying this out loud to my clients and really just to my friends and to the people around me, I realized that other people did not see it this way. So we're going to talk about 3 examples of other people showing up and you having some sort of unexpected circumstance or unwanted circumstance even, and helping you get back to feeling neutral. This thought, quote unquote, they're just confused. It's a game changer. It's like splashing cold water on your face with the subtext of, oh, okay, they're just confused. It's not a problem. It stops the drama right in its tracks so that we can get back to handling our business. It'll help you access your CEO brain instead so you can get back to the actions that I already know are on your schedule because you've scheduled them because you're a Hapster, right? That's what we do. So here are 3 examples that you can apply this thought to today. Number one is when they still don't get it. So I posted about this on Instagram recently, and I gave screenshots of text messages or messages that I received from clients. And I want to use them as the examples because I think it really helps to have a specific example. So, one, my client said to me, I've told her about the policy a million times. It's like she's deliberately doing it now. I don't know what else to do at this point. So I could tell that the feeling that was happening with my client was she was exasperated. She was just at her wit's end. She's like, I'm doing all the things you're telling me to. I have boundaries. I set policies. I'm communicating them properly. She still doesn't get it. And I'm like, okay, not a problem. She doesn't get it. That's the fact. Okay. A lot of you guys get mad about this, even take offense or take it personally, but we can't take sound action when we're feeling exasperated. Remind yourself of the facts. Okay. They're just confused. And then once you're feeling neutral, you're able to get curious and solve it. So once you get neutral and you realize the fact that she still doesn't get it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with her. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It just means that she's having a thought that doesn't match your thought. Is that like the crime of a century? It's actually not a problem. When I think about it, I'm like, oh, she keeps asking because she's still confused. And I think maybe the reason this thought is so easy for me to access, because I think oftentimes I'm still confused about things. Like someone can explain to me things in Excel 100 billion times, and I will still show up and be like, I know you explained this to me, but I'm still confused. And when people get mad at me, it doesn't help anything, right? Like it doesn't help me. The fact that you're mad about the fact that I still don't get it doesn't help me solve it, doesn't help me get closer to understanding, right? It's just puts us at this place where you're now mad at me. And now I have even less desire to understand because I'm digging my heels and you've dug your heels in, right? So in order to solve it, in order to be curious as a business owner, as a CEO, we need to first feel neutral, and feeling neutral requires us to see that there's not a problem with the fact that they still don't get it. So once I feel neutral, in this case, like what my client was saying about how I put the policy, I, from a neutral place, I could say, okay, what part of the policy is she abiding by and what part of it is she still not? So where's there a loophole in my policy that I could tighten up? Where can I make my policy more specific? So I first always go to like, where can I take responsibility? And then secondarily after it, I just like love to gain more feedback. Okay, so you still don't get it. So I would go right through the policy all through from the beginning all the way to the end. Like I'm talking to a child. Like when our child doesn't get something and they're frustrated, it's just because they don't get it. It's not a big deal. It just hasn't resonated yet. Okay. Even though sometimes even there, we can feel really frustrated easily. I probably feel more frustrated with my son than I do my clients, even after being asked the same question 100 times. So it's okay. We can use it right there. They're just confused, even if they still don't get it. Then you can get curious. Then you can get to solving it. And the solving part of it is a whole nother episode, which I'm not going to go into right here, but that would be step one that we would do in coaching. We would remind you, okay, you're just confused. And then as a Hapster, more advanced coaching, you'd be like, okay, my client is confused. You would bring me that acknowledgement. And from a neutral place, we could explore what your strategy is going to be. That's why mindset management mixed with strategy is the only way to get a really clean, enjoyable, scalable business. Because otherwise, either A, if you just do the strategy, you're scaling your problems just as quickly as you're scaling your wins. And then if you just do the mindset without the strategy, then you're like just sitting there feeling neutral. You're like, everybody's confused. It's fine. It's not fine. That's not what I'm saying. You're just like, oh, there's a gap in understanding. They're confused. What can we do to solve it? Fine. Okay. So the second example of when I love to believe someone's confused is when haters hate, or in another way of putting it would be when a client is unsatisfied too. So when haters hate, sometimes this can be an unsatisfied client. Sometimes it's just a Karen. But either way, there are going to be some people coming at you with negative emotions or negative like words. And you're like, you want to take this personally. It's easy to get defensive or to want to react to that. But my thought about the haters is they're just confused. So this is the example that one of my clients gave me. I just keep reading it over and over again. Out of like 200 5-star reviews, I can't stop thinking about this one 2-star one. I gave her everything we agreed on, but it's like she has her own set of imaginary terms. She's now decided I should have adhered to, and I'm finding out about them publicly in the review. So again, you can see that message from my client is really emotionally charged. She's like, I did everything right. And still I don't deserve, right, this 2-star review. So from this place of exasperation, from this place of there's a problem that there's an unsatisfied client, there's a problem that there's a 2-star review, there's a problem that this person is hating, we can't do anything. We get into a spiral, right? When you run a successful business, the fact is you're gonna experience haters, or as I call it, confused people. Your brain will want to make their thoughts mean something about you or your business, but that part's really optional. I recommend looking at the facts only before you decide how to respond. But you can't look at the facts when you're fuming or in a shame spiral. This thought will get you back to the holy grail of CEO emotions, neutral, right? So they're just confused. No, and I just want to make this note too, because I what I also find sometimes is that people will use this thought they're just confused as a band-aid to avoid acknowledging or improving anything about their business. So this isn't a one-size-fits-all solution for when you have an unsatisfied client. This is just for what you do when someone is using unkind language or they're misinterpreting your role, your company, your policy, or your mission. This is when you've done the work to say, okay, I see the review and it doesn't actually make sense. This isn't like, oh, they don't like it, they can go screw themselves. No, not like that. They're just confused. Confused people we're going to cut them off. That's not what I'm saying. This is just for when you're like, oh, it's not, they wouldn't be unsatisfied had they understood either the policy, the role, had they understood, had they had the same thoughts that you have, etc. So we can identify what the gap is. And I also just think if someone's yelling, automatically they're confused. Because when I'm confused, one thing that might happen is I feel frustrated when people don't agree with me. And so confusion can really just look like we're not on the same page and we should be on the same page. No, you shouldn't be on the same page. How do we know? Because you're not. Okay. There are plenty of times when you're not on the same page with clients, with your significant other, whoever it is that just is coming in emotional. They just have a thought mismatch. It's not a problem. So again, the point of doing this work, the point of this thought is to get you back to neutral so that you can then look at the facts and say, okay, what did she want? What did she think? Where was the breakdown in communication, right? You can ask all of those high quality questions once you've done the work of getting to neutral. Okay, so the third place to apply this brilliant thought of they're just confused is when someone you love doesn't support you. Ooh, this one was the one that when I posted about this on Instagram, people were responding to the most because I hear this thought all the time. This is the example that I used of my client saying, he still doesn't think it's worth the money. It's so hurtful. Like he doesn't believe in me. And you might be listening to this and this might be like a dagger to your heart. And I know that feeling because I experienced it, right? Not just with my ex-husband, with my parents, even with Mark at times, right? Like our partners, our loved ones aren't always going to understand the value of a decision we want to make in our business. Okay, that's not a problem. For argument's sake, let's just agree that your loved ones probably love you. Can we agree on that much? Okay, they love you. So when they don't agree with an investment you want to make, when they don't believe that you're really going to do what you're saying that you're going to do, whether it's, okay, I'm going to be vegan for 30 days. And they're like, okay. And you're like, oh, like, look at you already undermining me before I even start, blah, 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 and making it a whole problem. It's like, they're just confused. They don't have the new thoughts that you have here. That's not a problem, right? So when your loved one advises you to play it safe even, it's likely not because they don't support you. It's simply because they are confused. Okay? They don't have the same vision. They can't feel your belief in their body. Or most likely, they can't guarantee your safety. That's a big one. Our loved ones want us to be safe. And when they see us going after things that have risk, it's human nature to want to just dissuade you from doing that, even if they are inspired. So if they're not practiced in experiencing and going after risk themselves, they're going to be even more likely to do this. Don't make this a problem. Make this a blessing. They're just your number one confused fan. Bless their heart. Successful CEOs make their decisions from a neutral place is the moral of this freaking story. Okay. But you need to know the thoughts that are going to get you to neutral before you can go and be that kick-ass CEO that I know that you are. And here is a damn good thought. They are just confused. Take it and run with it, Hapsters. Have a beautiful day and go and apply for Happyning Sessions. Have a great weekend. Hey Hapsters, if you want to learn more about today's topic, head over to what'shappyning.com/podcast. That's what's happening, what'shappyning.com/podcast. If you're a business owner and you're resonating with what we talk about here, what are you even doing? Come hang out with me over where the party's at on Instagram at What's Happyning WJess. Again, that's happy, Happyning, and book a discovery call to see if coaching is your next best step.